This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast, your number one source for WKU sports news and information. We are the only year-round WKU podcast, and we are the only WKU podcast that covers every single sport and every single athlete at Western Kentucky University. We are a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community, and as always, make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. I always suggest following us on X or Twitter. That's where you're going to get the most live and up-to-date news as it pertains to Western Kentucky athletics, kind of as it happens. We try to share that stuff out so everyone has eyes and is aware of it. Also suggest going over to our YouTube channel at Topper Talk Podcast. Give us a subscribe over there. Get notified whenever we upload an episode, which is at least one a week. We do have a video episode that comes along with every audio episode. Got Tyler here with me, man. We've got a good basketball episode to dive into, man. You ready?
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it.
But before we dive into the game previews this week, we have to get caught up with the Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up with all the news and information we missed since we last recorded. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap up.
All right, so starting off, WKU basketball lost a hard fought game to Kennesaw State, and then we turned around and beat our rival MTSU. Absolutely, just a good game to watch. But I'm gonna let you talk about it, and I'm gonna come up and finish it.
Yeah, it was I guess you could say it was a tough week last week for WKU basketball. Yeah, we entered the week on a 3-game losing streak, and then we lost to Kennesaw State to extend that losing streak to 4 games. Just not our best basketball, obviously, without Tegan Moore and without Armello Boone. You lose your 2 leading scorers, and Armello's our leading rebounder. Tegan's pretty good in that area, too. Just not some good basketball. And the Kennesaw State game ended up being a little bit more disappointing because we did have a late lead in that game. It was a very back and forth game, through the first, 30, 35 minutes. With 5 minutes left to go in the game, we had a 10-point lead. So it looked like, man, we can just cruise this thing on home, in that losing streak and, get on the right side, put one in the left-hand column. But we just couldn't hold on to the lead, end up losing that game 69-72. You have to shake that one off because you have a quick turnaround. We had to go down to Murfreesboro. Um, and, I didn't get to make the trip this year. I did have someone listening come through my workplace and ask me if I got my permission slip signed. And no, Aaron, I didn't get my slip signed. I had to go to a volleyball tournament for my daughter over the weekend out in Madisonville. So didn't get to attend this thing. Didn't get to go to Toots like you and I did a couple years ago, Tyler. But it was a much better game. I really expected MTSU to be a tough battle, especially without Tegan Moore. Armello Boone did return and was a nice spark plug. Had a really good game from Blaze Cada, and we were able to pull out a victory, 65-60. So really nice to kind of turn the corner in that losing streak, beat a rival. It's always nice to beat MTSU in any sport across the board. But definitely nice, to get Armello back, starting to get a little bit healthier. Looking like Tegan could return at some point this week, if not Thursday, then maybe hopefully Saturday. And we've got, kind of the stretch run of conference play here to kind of figure it out, put it together. And, it's all going to boil down to what happens in Huntsville, just like it did a couple years ago with the magical Steve Lutch here and making the tournament. No matter what happens between now and then, we got to be playing our best basketball by that weekend in March in Huntsville. So, disappointing to lose the Kennesaw State game, but I'm glad we turned it around and figured out how to beat the My Little Ponies, the Blue Raiders. So that's always a good day to be a Hilltopper. Tyler, what did you think about those two games?
Yeah, so the Kennesaw State game, once again, we just dug ourselves a hole at the beginning, first half, and then there towards the middle, as you said, 5 minutes left, we was up 10. We started kind of chipping back into, but we were doing that throughout the early to mid second half. But I mean, the shooting percentage was another thorn in our side. We shot 29% from the field, 24% from 3-point land. We were 7 to 29. We did shoot 88% from the free throw percentage. Had 8 turnovers. We forced them to have 13. We tied, equally in rebounds, 40 apiece. I mean, just disheartening. And yes, I know we was out. Armello Boone was out more. And very winnable game. I just hate to see that we just kind of gave the game away there at the end. But it is what it is. The games are still going to count, even if you don't have your leading scorer and leading rebounder out there. The guys could have hit some shots there towards the end, as we both said, but just wasn't to be. Blaze, he was the leading rebounder. He had 8 rebounds. Newell leading points. He had 15. Murdix had 4 assists, 2 turnovers in 19 minutes. Blaze had 5 defensive rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. So, that kind of springboarded him into the MTSU game, which I'm about to talk about in a second. But also another, I guess, player that, we always knew he could do something, but he really came into his own. This game was Cade Unseld. He had 17 points, 6 of 13 from the field. He also had a few threes, but something that I saw or something that I was listening to on radio, something that I heard was, he kind of faked a 3-pointer, got there to the free throw, and then just shot a jumper. It's nice when players can get to that mid range and kind of hit it. But Blaze, he had 14 rebounds, 10 defensive, 4 offensive. And he had I think he had 8 or 9 in the first half. The dude was a rebounding machine. He had like a block or 2. I think he had 2 steals in the game. Blaze was playing like a man possessed on defense, and I love it. Because that's one thing that we kind of have been missing was a dominant type big rebounder. Like I'm a big guy rebounder. We got, Moore and Boone can jump out the gym, but if you have a big post player who can get down there and gobble up them rebounds, give you second chance, gives you either gets a rebound, put it up, gets a rebound and throw it out to a 3-pointer and then or a shooter and then just let it kind of play itself out. At MTSU, we shot a little bit better. We shot 38% from the field, 32% from 3 points, 80% from the free throws. I'm glad MTSU sucks at free throws. They shot 55%. Dude, your college team, how you shooting 55% from the free throw strike? We forced them into 12 turnovers. We only had 8 rebounds. They did beat us by 5. We had 37. They had 42. And the largest lead was we had 12. They had 11. So, Murdix, he had 7 assists, 3 turnovers. And like I said, Cade had 17 and points, and Blaze had 14 rebounds. Just a good game. It's bad that we kind of dug ourselves a little hole again there at the beginning, but I'm glad that we was able to get out there and get back into it and eventually get the win. But good game. I think the guys played hard. It was good to have Boone back. Hopefully he continues to get better and as the season still progress and finish it up, and hopefully more can come back soon too. Let me get the notes up again. Okay. Lady Toppers, they lost MTSU 58-81. They are now 5-15 overall and 1-8 in conference play.
Yeah, the Lady Topper season, like we talk about them every single week. How they played in the games the previous week, if they won or lost. And, conference play has just been tough. They are 1-8 overall in Conference USA play. They've only won one game. They're 5-15 overall for the season. They have 9 games remaining in the regular season. Kind of the writings on the wall for this season. Obviously, it's going to be a tough ending to the season. Obviously, we hope they pull out as many wins as they can, but at this point, they're probably not going to be favored in many, if any, games remaining this season. And we're not the type of podcast or publication that talks about hiring or firing coaches, because we're just fans that like to talk about the sports, our teams, and I think we should support whomever the coach is, for as long as they are the coach. But it seems like the writing may be on the wall for this season, and maybe for this particular coach. We don't know, but we will continue to support Greg Collins until the day he is not our coach, and hopefully they finish up this season a lot stronger than what they have up to this point, because it's been a tough season to watch and cover.
WKU basketball signee Gabe Weiss was selected as a McDonald's All-American nominee.
Yeah, pretty prestigious stuff there. And I can't remember who is the last McDonald's All-American nominee that we had. Maybe Mitchell Robinson. That's the last one maybe I remember. I'll let you chime in here in a second, Tyler, but that's a prestigious honor, man. Obviously that nominee list will get whittled down to the final rosters for the game. And if he makes it or not, I think is kind of not as important as just being nominated. Being one of the best players in the nation, period, to get that nominee is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to have him here on the Hill.
Wasn't Charles Bassey one?
Possibly, I don't
think
recall.
He was. I don't think Josh Anderson was. Tavion Wooden. I think it was Charles. But the player that shall not be named because he sadly didn't play single second here. WKU pole vaulter Sam Crenshaw set another school record with the vault of 5.27 meters, his fourth school record of the season.
Yeah, when I put this one on Twitter, I put death, taxes, and Sam Crenshaw school record, because fourth one this season. He also set one last season, so his fifth overall record here at WKU while pole vaulting. Just impressive stuff. Every single meet, he's pushing that bar higher and higher, literally. So big congratulations to him.
And we're going to talk about another pole vaulter. Pole vaulter Sophia Rakowski set a WKU record with a vault of 4.17 meters.
Yeah, are we a pole vaulting school now? Because apparently on both our men's and women's sides, we're just crushing these school records, and you love to hear that. So big congratulations to Sophia as well. We love to hear that news of setting a new record at Western Kentucky.
WKU tennis beat UT Southern 7-0 twice in the doubleheader.
Yeah, nice way to come back home. They had a tough start to the season with some tough opponents with Vanderbilt and Louisville. Nice to come back home and play an opponent that was obviously very beatable. So to beat them 7-0 twice in one day, just a few days ago, says a lot about this team to bounce back and then take care of business with an opponent that they should have taken care of business with. So congrats to the Lady Tennis team.
Former WKU wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson signed a 2-year deal with the Edmonton Elks of the CFL.
Yeah, pro tops. Love that for Keyshawn. Bounced around in the NFL. Was with the Browns there for a while. Didn't work out. I think was on a practice squad deal there for a little bit. So trying his hand in the Canadian Football League, and that league has plenty of talent. And some of those guys, if they show out, they get called up to the NFL. So definitely glad that he's getting an opportunity to keep playing. Keep the dream alive to make it back to the NFL and get on a roster and stay on a roster. So big congratulations to Keyshawn.
Also, former WKU offensive lineman Lawrence Seymour committed to Texas.
Yeah, the portal taketh away, and that's a big takeaway there. A big guard this past season for us. Ended up being a Football Writer Association All-American. Going to Texas. So obviously proved he can play, had good tape, had good results, and Texas is getting a good one. So definitely congratulations to Lawrence and best of luck.
Tegan Moore, you mentioned it earlier. He's doubtful to play Thursday versus Jax State, more like to play Saturday versus FIU.
Yeah, the two games that we are previewing today, it came up in Hank Plona's media availability that he does every Monday. Jeff Nations or someone asked him about the update on Tegan, still in concussion protocol. Said he's very doubtful to play this Thursday, to get cleared to play, but much more likely to, by Saturday versus FIU to be cleared to play. So that is the update on Tegan, and hopefully we'll know more, at game time on Thursday with the availability report or on Saturday for FIU.
Former Hilltopper volleyball star Paige Briggs Romine was named the MLV Player of the Week.
So yeah, we talked about Paige last week having a really good game. I forget how many kills she had. I want to say she had like 22 kills in a game and was named the player of the game for her team in their winning match. But then she also was named the player of the week in the entire league. So that's obviously a big time nomination, and congratulations are due to Paige, the pro top herself. So big congratulations to Paige Briggs.
WKU baseball shortstop commit accepts an invite to play in the Upper Midwest Showcase.
Yeah, I left his name out. That was Cal Jepson. Shortstop commit Cal Jepson accepted an invite to play in the Upper Midwest Showcase, and love to hear that. I mean, one of our guys that will be here on campus and playing for the Tops here shortly. So, getting a chance to play in a Midwest Showcase, obviously, that will put him in front of some pro scouts, and hopefully he still comes to the Hill. But at the same time, it's still an honor to be invited to play in that type of an event. So, big congratulations to Cal.
And then WKU baseball was selected 5th in the Conference USA preseason poll. Infielder Kyle Hayes was the only Hilltopper selected to the Conference USA preseason all-conference team.
Yeah, if you're watching the video version on YouTube, I do have that preseason poll pulled up. If you haven't already seen it, the Conference USA Twitter account put that out just a few days ago. The coaches poll, that essentially is showed you that Dallas Baptist, as usual, is the favorite. Then La Tech, Kennesaw, and Jacksonville State kind of all clumped together right there behind them, and close in points or votes. And then WKU right there behind them at number 5. So, I like our chances. It's a whole new team, a lot of new faces. Like you said, only one person, Kyle Hayes, selected to the all-conference preseason team. I don't really take that as a snub. It's just so many new players on this roster. But I'm really feel good about the pieces that we brought in, and we're going to have some guys bust through and make a name for themselves. And I think we're going to make a good run at that Conference USA title, just like we did last year in the tournament and won that thing, and went to an NCAA regional. So let's do it again.
And that concludes this week's episode of Red Towel Wrap Up. Moff, back to you.
Good stuff as always. Some victories to discuss, some school records that were broken. Love to hear that kind of a wrap up. And now we jump into the game previews, which are brought to you by Roof Girl. If you have a leaky roof, shingles detached, faded, or just plain blah, don't call any roofing company. Call Paula with Roof Girl, locally owned and operated with over 6 years of experience and a proud WKO alumna. She will work with your insurance company. Give Roof Girl a call today at 270-392-4768 to set up a free inspection and quote. See her work by following Roof Girl on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, you're not just calling any roofing company, you're calling Paula, a person who cares for your roof. And a good roof is a roof you can forget about. Again, call or text Roof Girl at 270-392-4768 to get started today. And now we dive into the Jacksonville State and FIU previews. And WKU enters this week's games with an overall record of 12-10, and we are currently sitting at 5 wins and 6 losses in Conference USA play. After losing to Kennesaw State, which we just talked about, and beating MTSU last week, WKU is at home with Jacksonville State on Thursday night. The game is at 8 p.m. And then we host FIU on Saturday at 2 p.m. Tyler, what are your thoughts, on the season as it stands? We're a little over midway through the conference slate of games, 11 games into a 20-game slate. So we've got 9 games to go, split our last series. We're back at home for 3 in a row now. So how are you feeling about the season as it stands and, looking forward to, these next couple games?
I mean, as a season over the whole, yes, we have let some games slip past us. We had a chances to win them, especially on the road. There's only a few that we have absolutely got just beat out the gym. We was a shot or two away from beating Liberty. Liberty wouldn't have been undefeated. And then you got to think of the Kennesaw State game up 10 with 5 minutes left. There's no way, no reason we should have lost that game. I feel like that was a very winnable game. So overall, the season is it hurts a little bit, but I'm still proud of the guys. They're still going out there and playing hard. They're still going out there and competing. Sometimes the shots just don't fall, and sometimes you just get sloppy with it. Now that is fixable in practice. You can always get better at that. But sometimes the ball just don't bounce your way. I'm glad we're coming into this three game home stretch. I think that's going to be big. It'd be nice to have revenge against the Fighting Ray Harpers. And then FIU, I'm going to talk about that game later on, but I don't like FIU. I hate playing them actually. But it would be pretty sweet to get revenge against Ray Harper.
Yeah, the Fighting Ray Harpers are coming to Ditto Arena this Thursday evening. It's going to be a good one. They've had our number last year and earlier when we played them this year. They enter the game with an overall record of 11 wins and 10 losses, including being 6-4 in Conference USA play. They split games with Florida International and Missouri State last week. Jacksonville State and WKU played in late December, with Jacksonville State winning 78-67. And what was probably one of our just worst road performances of the year, in my opinion. I mean, we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. We couldn't hit water if we fell out of a boat. It was just a bad game. Was not good. The ESPN matchup predictor gives WKU a 67.6% chance of winning this game. There's not a betting line out for this game. That should come out at some point Wednesday evening. I'd almost expect us to be a slight favorite, 3.5 to 4.5 ish. Being back at home, being in Diddle, a lot of Conference USA teams, as we have discussed, over and over again, just life on the road is hard. It's hard to get those road victories, and defending home, you feel that much better about it. But Tyler, how do you feel about the Ray Harpers and getting to have a rematch and a chance to get some revenge from that terrible loss in December?
Well, you're talking about the betting line. Yes, it's not out yet, but when we played down there, I think we were 2.5-point favorites. So, playing at home, you would expect us to be, as you said, 3.5, 4.5. I'd like to see about 5.5, but that I think it could be a little bit closer than that. But it would be really, really nice to just absolutely dominate Jax State. I go back to thinking last year when Ray Harper finally beat us at home or at Western, and he came out there. He was dancing on the sideline. He did a little ditty. He was just happy as all get out, and just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. I think he did with a lot of fans. Him coming in there and doing that and acting a fool, but it would be really sweet to be able to just come in and just absolutely walk all over them. And I'm hoping the team remembers. Well, most of these players weren't here last year whenever that happened, but Coach was, And I don't think Coach is going to forget about that.
Yeah, we are Ray Harper's Super Bowl. We have seen that time and time again. As they've beaten us the last 3 times we played them now. They swept us last year, and beat us the first game this year. So we need to get back on the right side and hush Ray Harper. I almost call him Red Nose Harper, Ray Harper, Diet Coke Harper. But he has our number right now, so we have a chance to get right, and we'll be back at home. We are going to talk about the players to know as we always do. And if you are watching on YouTube again, I have pulled up um, a, a visual aid to help follow along with the players to know for both games. Obviously, you can see that Tegan Moore is still listed on the WKU side as he's still our leading scorer and our leading assist guy, but obviously unlikely to play in this game. But looking at the left side, the leading scorer and he's their leading rebounder for Jacksonville State is Mustafa El Matakil. Probably butchered that, but you can see there's a lot of letters, a lot of vowels in that name. So I tried. Don't let me know if I got it wrong in the comments. I tried. He is number 23 on the roster. He is a 6'6" senior. He's averaging 18.5 points per game and 7.5 rebounds per game. And he had 17 points in our previous matchup earlier this season. And their leading passer is Jay Nash. He's number 3. He's a 6'3" sophomore guard, averaging 4 assists per game. And then jumping in and looking at the team stats comparison, just side by side, you can see we're scoring more points per game, but they're allowing less points per game against. Field goal percentage wise, again, this is a broken record. We're one of the worst shooting teams in Conference USA at 40%. Jacksonville State shoots 44%. But we're also one of the best rebounding teams in Conference USA. We have an edge there, 41 to 37 rebounds per game. Assists are about even, 12.8 to 12.4. Blocks, Jacksonville State is slightly ahead, 2.9 to 3.2. And then steals, we average 7.7 per game. They average 6.3. So again, on paper, this is a really, just a similar matchup of teams that are both just grinding teams. I mean, luckily we're kind of hitting our stretch where I think we're probably more well known defensively right now. 4 of our last 5 games have been our best defensive games of the season by an efficiency statistic. And there's something personal when you're trying to get one back. You're trying to get some revenge. Even though the players and the coach have no idea. I mean, they probably know that Ray Harper did coach here, but they weren't around. They weren't personally affected by him coaching here and not coaching here anymore. But they know who he is, I'm sure. It's not the first time they've heard, hey, that guy used to be the head coach here and took him to the NCAA tournament a couple times. And probably heard that he acted a fool last year, like you alluded to, when they finally got that win. And he just was dancing around EA Diddle Arena like he was going back to the NCAA tournament. So, it's going to be a little bit personal. I expect it to be a little bit chippy, and we need to get back in the win column against Jacksonville State. Not just basketball, but football. I mean, they've had our number. Tyler, what are your thoughts on the fighting Ray Harpers and how we match up with them?
Well, this game, we typically tend to play pretty fast. They obviously try to slow it down just a little bit. So I think this game is who's going to be able to control the tempo of the game. Will we be able to force them into speeding up, making mistakes, making ill-advised shots, and getting us out into the lanes and really going? I sure hope that's the way it goes, and I think Coach will have a good game plan for it, and I think he'll have the players primed up and ready to go because, last week whenever I said, it's gut check time, we were in a 2-game losing streak, 3-game. We lost Sam Houston. Then, with MTSU, we showed that, you can punch us, but we're going to punch you back in the mouth. And this week, I think this is going to be the exact same thing. Sam Houston or Jax State, Jax State last game slapped us. How are we going to respond to that? Yes, we're probably going to be without more, but another player's going to have to step up. Now, will that be Newell for the points? Will that be Myers? Will that be Hackman? Murdix can get in the lane and make some circus shot and probably get to the free throw line. So, will Blaze continue his trend of just gobbling up rebounds? I would like to think he will, since he's got that little touch. A few years ago we had I'm fuzzy on the post guy, but that season he really wasn't very active until just one game, and it clicked, and that's when it like a switch got flipped, and he just went off. He was aggressive. He was being assertive. Maybe that was Blaze game right there versus MTSU. It'd be really nice if it would be. But we just going to need someone to step up and make the points that, we're going to miss with Moore being out. I think we'll probably get below our average in this game, not by much though, but I still think we're going to get more than Jax State's allowing per game.
Are you talking about Rodney Howard, the big guy?
Yes. I drew a blank and I could not think of it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just talking about Rodney the other day, man. He was a good one. He was a special player. He sparked us in Huntsville and helped lead us to that title. So yeah, he was a good one. And hopefully Blaze continues doing what he's doing. That's all we need. We don't need a bunch of points, but a lot of rebounds is going to be a welcome addition to what this team needs and needs to continue doing well. Now, looking at FIU for our game on Saturday, they enter the week with a record of 10-11 overall, including being 3-7 in Conference USA play. They lost to Jacksonville State last week. The ESPN matchup predictor gives us a 77.5% chance of victory over the FIU Golden Panthers. And like you said, I don't like playing them either. They play a very up tempo and a fast style of basketball, and I definitely don't like playing them down in Miami. I hate their court. I've said that many times when we had the volleyball tournament down there just a couple months ago. I reiterated how much I hate their court. It should just be a normal basketball court, no waves, no beach. We're not at the beach. We're inside your basketball arena. Please, FIU, hear my plea. But what we need to do is just take care of business this Saturday in Diddle Arena. The game's at 2 p.m. Obviously, we hope a lot of people come out for that game as well as the game on this Thursday, which is a Greek night game. I just saw that promotion online. Hank Plona's given $1,000 away to a Greek organization who has the highest attendance for that game. So hopefully that kind of snowballs into the rest of the season. Students, Greeks, etc., showing up. But man, big time favorite by the ESPN matchup predictor for this game. Obviously, the betting line won't be out till Friday afternoon, mid afternoon. Expecting it to favor us. Being at home, them being 3-7 in conference play, that's not helping their odds or their betting odds in any form or fashion. But Tyler, what are your thoughts on the FIU Panthers before we get ready to talk about some players to know?
Hate them. Absolutely hate them. I don't know what it is about them. It seems like every time we play them, typically they come out on top. And this year, I mean, if you look at their games they've been playing in conference, they lost to Liberty 97-94. New Mexico, they beat them 89-74. Jax State lost 71-64. Kennesaw State, they lost 89-86. UTEP lost 83-77. New Mexico State again 81-78. And then they lost to Jax State, like you said, 78-74. I mean, this team is putting up numbers. If you look in their out of conference, which they played really nobody, James Madison and Miami, it looks like, and LSU. And I mean, that they've still putting up 81 against LSU, 66 against Nebraska. They've had multiple over 100-point games. I mean, it just seems like in their in-conference game, there's not much defense being played. It's mostly just, as you said, up and down, quick, fast-paced offense. So, I mean, I feel like this is going to be the ESPN matchup predictor may like it. I feel like we can win, but man, our defense is going to have to be on point this game.
It's going to be a tough game. I mean, again, that's why we play the games. On paper, it looks like we should take care of business. By the betting lines, by ESPN matchup predictor, however you want to look at us being favored. But those games aren't played on paper; they're going to be played on the court, and we have to talk about the players to know for FIU, just like we do for every team. And like I've always mentioned, if you're watching on YouTube, I do have it pulled up on the screen so you can see and compare to our scoring leader, rebound leader, and assist leader. And currently, their leading scorer and rebounder is Corey Stevenson. He is number 3 on the roster. He is a 6'6", 220-pound senior guard. He's averaging 17.7 points per game, as well as 6.7 rebounds per game, and as well as 2 assists per game. Then their leading passer is Zaldi Jackson. He is number 2 on the roster. He is a 6'1", 195-pound senior. He's averaging 3.2 assists per game to go along with his 10.5 points per game. And then looking at the total team stats and just how we compare on paper, like you said, and like FIU has been the last several years under Jeremy Ballard, their head coach. They are a fast-paced, score a lot of points teams. They try to speed you up. They try to turn you over. They try to go the other way and score. And like you mentioned, they have done that very well this season. They're averaging 82.8 points per game, which is considerably more than our 77.7. But they are allowing 78.5. Some of that comes with, being an up tempo, faster paced team. The more possessions you have, the more possessions the other team's going to have as well if you're scoring quickly. But they do give up points as well. They're giving up 78.5 points per game, whereas we give up 74.8 points per game. They shoot better from the field than us at 46%. No surprise there. We're at 40%. Rebounds per game, we do have an edge there at 41 per game. They have 38.6 per game. Then assists, they have 15.8 per game. We have 12.8. Blocks, 4.9 for them, 2.9 for us. And then steals, 10 per game for them to 7.7 for us. So again, that kind of goes into the high intensity, push the pace play that they do like to play. They want to speed you up. They want to turn you over. They want to cause mistakes, bad passes, live ball turnovers that they can turn you over and take the other way for easy points, layups, assists, etc. And that just kind of is painted there with their points per game, what they're giving up, their steals, their assists, etc. They are just that's their style, that's their identity, that's what they're going to bring to Ditto Arena, and we can do that too, but it's just not what we have done. Since the midpoint of the season when we had some injuries, we really have slowed down a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out and how we match up. And, if we try to, run with them or if we try to slow them down a little bit and force them into some mistakes and, playing out of their style. Tyler, what are your thoughts on how we match up with FIU?
Ooh, good question. I feel like we could match up pretty good. I think, like, kind of like what you just said. I think Hank could try to slow it down, try to get them out of that rhythm. Or I mean, maybe we hold the ball for longer than just a few seconds, and we, take some of that shot clock off, maybe some of that game clock, and then maybe Myers gets hot like he did against Liberty from behind the three, and Cade Unseld, he's coming into his own. He drained a few shots at MTSU, so maybe he's starting to feel himself, and that's only going to benefit us. And if you look at the guy that's more likely to shoot the three, that's going to be that Corey Stevenson guy. He shot 105 on the season. He's only hit 44. You look at Julian Mackey. He's our second leading point guy. He shot 89. He's only hit 39. 98. He's attempted 98, hit 39 of them. But then you look at, I guess, two of their forwards, Hamad, I'm not going to try to pronounce that last one, and Eric by Emmy. Hamad's got 29 blocks on season, and Eric's got 28. And then you got Abraham. He's got 17. He's another forward. Don't look like he puts up many points. Field goal, he's only attempted 35 shots. He's hit 17. He's attempted 1 3-pointer, and he's hit none. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a little bit more on the numbers. But if we try to run with them, I feel like we could. Sometimes this team does kind of play. Western does kind of play kind of quick, and somehow, yes, we turned the ball over some, but I think the most turnovers we had this season was probably Sam Houston, when we had was it like 18 turnovers? I mean, just an ungodly amount. But I feel like sometimes when we play chaotic, that's when we kind of play our best. So, we could try to lace up and just run with them. If it does, that's going to be a really exciting game. So I would advise everyone to get out to EA Diddle and watch that. But I feel like we could match up. I think our defense, as you said, has been better this last stretch of games, and really that may be what it is to even knock them off their rhythm. They come in, they get someone who's actually getting good ball defense on them. Jumping lanes, kind of tipping passes, and that only leads to us getting an extra run, getting a quick run out on the other end. So I feel like we could match up pretty good against FIU.
It's going to be exciting to watch. I know that much. It's going to be a good basketball game. I think it's going to be one that either team can win. And speaking of winning, we're going to talk about our keys to victory next. And as always, we're going to lump both of these games versus Jacksonville State and FIU. We're going to lump those together and make our 3 keys to victory. So, Tyler, what is your first key to victory for this week's games? Muted.
Sorry. I realized that my little thing said it up there. Get second chance points. If we do miss a shot, we need to get that rebound and somehow end that possession with points. Whether it be just an easy putback, tip in, dunk, or pass out to an open 3-point shot or a 3-point shooter like Myers or Cater or Newell. I feel like that's be one of our keys to victory.
Rebounding may be one of my keys to victory. It's not my first key to victory, though. My first key to victory is going to be shooting and a specific shooting percentage. We've talked about the shooting woes that we had against Kennesaw State and even against MTSU, not our greatest shooting night. But I did see a stat out there that when we shoot above 43, when we shoot 43% from the field or better, the stat said at the time we were 9-1. So that's kind of, to me, is a Mendoza line number. And I think the game that we lost, if I'm not mistaken, was the USF game, which we were right there, should have won that game in regulation, lost it in overtime. So that's a pretty good stat that if we shoot better than 43%, we do so many other things well as far as taking care of the ball, rebounding, average 3-point shooting team, that if we can just shoot the 2 well, we can win a lot of ball games. But we have struggled to do that. So give me shoot 43% or better. Tyler, what's your second key to victory?
Force mistakes. I've chosen this a few times at the past few seasons, but I mean, if we can make the other team give the ball away or pass it away into someone who tips it away and just get quick and easy points, that's one thing we can do to get the win.
Yeah, so I alluded that rebounding would probably be on my keys to victory. And you talked about rebounding and getting second chance points. I'm looking at rebounding as far as avoiding second chance points, limiting a team to one shot and done. We take care of the ball, we send it down the other way. So I want to make sure we continue to put an emphasis on rebounding. We've been a really strong rebounding team. That was a concern coming into the year. That was a concern when Bryant Celebonge went down. That was a concern when we lost Tegan and Armello. Those are 2 solid rebounding guys for us, but it has turned into something that we can depend on. We're good at it, but we can't give a team second chance opportunities. We have to rebound the ball, and sometimes we struggle in games with that. There's possessions where it just gets tipped and one of their guys gets it. And I have a friend who I don't know if he listens, but he always says, what do second shots do? They go in. If you notice when a team gets an offensive rebound, they get another shot, it tends to go in. Your defense isn't ready, you're not reset, and they get a good look and it goes in. So we need to rebound and we need to do it successfully. Tyler, what's your third key to victory?
Play from the inside out. We sometimes this season, whenever our shots are not going in, we just come down and jack up the first 3-point that looks good. If you get the ball, if you go in and shoot like a floater or you get a layup, that only is going to build your confidence up, and then you start moving the ball back and you start making them shots more. Or if you drive into the lane, you collapse the defense, then you pass out to an open shooter, or you give the ball to your big guy down low. He turns around, reverses the ball, or skip passes it, open Myers, open Newell, open Boone. If he is feeling it, he will shoot the shot. So yeah, I mean, I think if you play from the inside out, that's only going to help our cause this week.
I think my third key to victory is going to be to take care of the ball, limit turnovers, especially in that FIU game. That's what they like to do. They like to cause turnovers. We talked about that earlier with the pace they want to play, the points they want to score. They want to get a lot of steals. They want to force turnovers and go the other way. So we've been really good at taking care of the ball. We've not had many games with a lot of turnovers. But if that does happen, if we do get sloppy and have a lot of turnovers, it's going to lead directly to points for their team and likely to a loss. Take care of the ball, Hilltoppers. Continue doing what you do and do it well. Tyler, who have you got for your MVT, your most valuable topper for this week's games?
Gosh, dude, this one's a tough one. Boone can get the ball, get rebounds. He can score. You got Myers who can stroke it from behind three. I mean, and then you got Blaze who's coming into it. So it's those are the three dudes I'm looking at right now for this week, and I honestly think um I may go with Newell, or I'm sorry, I may go with Blaze. I know I would like to see him become a more dominant offensive threat, but his defensive play, his rebounding, both of them are coming in right at the right time. So I'm going to run with Blaze this week.
Interesting pick, but coming off a really good couple games, so I understand the pick. I also am going with someone a little bit different, someone off the beaten path. I'm not sure that either one of us have selected this player as an MVT this season, and this is a guy who I think doesn't always stuff the stat sheet, and what he does and what he brings to the court and to our play isn't something that you pull out the box score after the game's over and go, wow, he had 27 points or he hit 8 threes. He doesn't have that kind of stat line, but his effect on the game and how we play and overall his plus minus that he brings to the court and to helping us win ball games and just being a good ball player makes him valuable. And we saw some time earlier this season where he was injured. Give me Terrion Murdix, the unheralded star, the quiet killer. Has a little chip to him, has a little dog to him. We'll get in your face and we'll let you know. We'll take it to the hole, can hit a floater. He's just a solid little straw that stirs to drink. I hate that he's not as healthy as he once was in his collegiate career. That big brace on his knee. He hurt his other knee this year. Man, he's been through a lot. He deserves to finish this season healthy. I really enjoy what he brings to the game. I think he had 7 assists in one of our last games, and that's saying a lot for a team that doesn't shoot well. Imagine if we were just an average shooting team and could shoot 50% from the field. He'd probably have 10, 11, 12 assists per game if we could make a bucket when he passed it to somebody. But I really enjoy what Terrion brings to this team. He's just a steadying, calming pace type of a player. He's not pushing it, but he does know when to push it. He knows when to probe the defenses and try to find your weak spot and those angles and when you got your back turned, he'll take you to the hole. He'll get his shoulders past you and do one of those crazy reverse layups, but he'll put the English on it and get the drop. So I really enjoy watching him play, and I think Terrion is a big part of all of our wins when he's healthy. So give me Terrion Murdix as my MVT. Now, Tyler, what do you have for score predictions versus Jacksonville State and FIU?
All right, so Jax State, obviously I think we're going to win. I think our defense is going to hold them down to about 68 points, and we're going to get up in about 75 against Jax State. Now, FIU, it will be more of an offensive shootout, I believe, but WKU is going to win 83-79.
My pen was dying on me. I'm writing the scores down that you said, and writing mine down, and I can hardly read my writing. But same thought as you. I think we win a couple games this week and extend our win streak to 3 games. We defend home court. We defend Diddle. The only losses there this year off the top of my head are Tulsa and the 3 that never should have been, and then Liberty, obviously, a couple weekends ago. And we were an illegal screen away from, wiping that off the board and tying them up or beating them late in that ball game too. So I think we beat Jacksonville State. I have that score as 74-68. Hilltoppers win. And then the FIU game, just like you, I have a little bit of a higher scoring game. I have us winning 78-76. So a nail biter, but a 2-0 week for the Hilltoppers, a 3-game win streak. And heading into the right direction on the second half of the Conference USA schedule. Really looking forward to being back at home. I think I plan on being at both of those games as long as I'm back in town on Thursday before that 8 p.m. tip. The game being on CBS Sport Network obviously pushed that tip time back a little bit, but I think hopefully I can make it back. And then same for the Saturday game. I think it's a 2 p.m. tip. Just looking forward to being back in Diddle. Seems like we've been on the road. It feels like forever. It's only been 3 games, a week and a half, but will be nice to be back in Diddle. I hope a good crowd shows up. Win or lose, I feel like we got to get behind these guys and support them and impact Diddle and be loud, and we can make a difference and help a team get over the hump and win a game. So hopefully everyone's been safe. Obviously, it's been snow and ice Armageddon outside. Really started to melt today with warmer temperatures and some rain. So should be safe to get down to Diddle Arena from wherever you're coming from. Hopefully your path has at least partially or mostly cleared. But looking forward to being back in Diddle. And Tyler, hit us with your final words and take us out of here.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking that, my MVT in the FIU game, we may go a small lineup, the post guys may be sitting out a little bit that game since it will probably be such an up and down, but I'm still going to ride with them. But kind of like I said, I wish I'd put this one of my keys to victory. Come out and hit them both in the mouth, both games. Just come out, bam. Don't dig. We don't need to dig ourselves that big hole that we have the last few games and try fighting out of, because that's no fun for nobody. But yes, I hope everyone was safe. I hope everyone got the power back on. I know that was a really big issue down here in South Central Kentucky. Thankfully, we didn't lose our power. It was kind of touch and go a little bit, but I think most places starting to get it. I think the percentage of houses without it's really gone down pretty quick. So, but yeah, everyone needs to come out and support the Hilltoppers this game or this week. I should be able to make it to the Thursday game, to the Saturday game. I get off work at 2, so I'll be there just as soon as I get off and walk out the door. I'm going to drive right up the hill. But I hope everyone comes out and cheers them on, because really this team thrives on the support that we give them. If you've been to Diddle, you've seen Coach Hank, you've seen the players all try to get the fans into the game. And that's a sign that they need you there and they need that noise. So I hope everyone comes out to EA Diddle this week. It should be a fun game. It should be a fun 2 games to watch. If you come Thursday, you get to see Ray Harper and yell at him. Then you get to watch a very exciting FIU game on Saturday. So, with that, Moth, who has it better than us, man?
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
You know, y'all go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See y'all.